Okay. Then just a few words. National Genetic Laboratory, it's named recently like that, was created in the end of the 1917 with introducing of the mass neonatal screening in Bulgaria. So, I mean, we have really long experience with a screening program. In 1966, we initiated to introduce maternal serum screening, starting with those in second trimester. I still remember really that time with an epic effort, how to collect appropriate group in a different gestation period, how to establish a median, how to validate the method for diagnosis of the hormones. Basically, the second one is very easy. 2 years later, we started to introduce the first trimester screening. So, having all that database, we start to think how to promote, how to enlarge maternal serum screening in Bulgaria. And in 2000, we write projects that aim to establish the screening network, and we invited 3 located in different regions in Bulgaria, north of Bulgaria, east, south of Bulgaria, to participate that screening network. And at the moment, we use the same equipment, the same diagnostic tool. So like that, we reach, I can say, uniformity of the performing of the laboratory tests. Our workflow is very logical. The sampling can be done in that genetic and medical laboratories located in the universities. But together with that, lot of samples are sent to the laboratories by email services from private hospital or private laboratories. After preparation of the sample, we perform analysis. We use software to calculate the risk, and after that, the on the internet. Normally, that process from the collecting of the sample and to publishing of results takes one, not more than 2 days, depending of the number of the samples that are provided to the laboratories. Since 2015, we managed to convince Ministry of Health and to get a fund that makes the laboratory tests and genetic counseling free of charge for the pregnant woman. I mean, the samples and the women that are directed to the laboratories of that network. Here, I want to share with you a trend that we observed in the last 5 years. A slightly decreasing of the number of the pregnant women that pass to the screening in that laboratory. It can be explained with the decreasing of overall birth rate in Bulgaria, and definitely decreasing of the case that are referred only for the second trimester screening. Because in the last years, that was a really remarkable program. Totally, we're capable to screen around 20,000, even more pregnancies per year. And the calculating number of the possible false positive results are not exceed 2%. And as I told you, one of the major tasks is to reduce the number of the pregnant women who were screening only in second trimester. Why it appeared to be a specificity for Bulgarian population? In some region, the information concerning exactly the organization of the screening wasn't so well supported, and actually some of medical structures to refer the pregnant woman for second trimester. But you can see here that we significantly decrease the number of that type of screening tests from 27-30% 5 years ago up to just 6% from the last year. That table, I think it's very intriguing because it presents a different approach of the screening methods. Here, I present for you the discovered in national genetic laboratories affected pregnancies, just affected pregnancies, proven after prenatal diagnosis. You can see that some pregnancies undergo only NIPT tests in first trimester, and because of deviation of NIPT tests, undergo chorionic villus sampling or amniocentesis, and like that, the affected pregnancies was discovered. In some cases, the ultrasound findings were the major marker that represent and woman was referred to prenatal diagnosis. And just a few cases when all that steps are omitted and the screening in second trimester was the only one marker that represents deviation. So here we can think about really what type of approach will be more accurate and more functional. But the screening program really contained basically the first trimester screening test, the information from the non-invasive prenatal testing that appeared to be very popular and modern in Bulgaria. Now, the question is how to make the serum screening really effective. Thinking that in that group of 20,000 pregnant women that we screened during the year, we can expect up to 400 pregnancies with increased risk that must be subjected to additional tests. It's a really important idea to see how to improve the assessment of option for early diagnosis in first trimester. Then it's almost done to reduce significantly application of maternal serum in screening trimester. You know that the detection rate is very low, and it's related to a really high rate of false positive results. And a very important step is how to include the markers for preeclampsia. Yes, there is a lot of articles that really prove the effectiveness of the screening of preeclampsia. But there is some very crucial moments that must be evaluated and discussed in the routine practice. It means that including of the echosonographic markers in first trimester will need the data provided by nurses or midwives containing the measurement of mean arterial pressure and uterine artery pulsatility index. So that really will makes the echosonographic scan are more prolonged in first trimester, and some of the medical doctors not understand exactly the benefit of that test and do not have a decision to do it a routine test. So basically in Bulgaria, the screening of preeclampsia is done by a private clinic that are named in my country like Oscar type clinic, one-step clinic of assessment of risk. They have focused the major activities in the field of fetal medicine and prenatal diagnosis. And the government hospital, like the hospital when the National Genetic Laboratory is located, actually do not have a capacity to perform in detail such type of tests. Through the National Genetic Laboratory for the last year, we calculate that we have more than 11,000 screening tests in first trimester. At Paris, we have had around 4,000 visitors, and note that we have just one medical room that performs prenatal, I mean, ultrasound diagnostic, and really the capacity is very low to afford to make screening for preeclampsia, like additional tests and routine engagement of the laboratory. Maybe thinking with that restriction that we met at the moment, the main problem in the government hospital that there is not a lot of specialists that can provide more detailed information necessarily to introduce the screening for preeclampsia. Yes, instead of the maternal serum screening, at the moment there is no idea how to make the tests for preeclampsia free of charge. But in my opinion, it's not the major problem. The major problem is that it's not very well recognized and not promoted enough. Maybe that is the most important field that we are going to work in order to promote preeclampsia and to make possible to introduce that test routinely very soon in the next year. So thank you for your attention.